class like?
Like, you do not need to go out every day.
College is pretty hard.
Just to get involved in class.
Hey guys, I'm Lilia, and you're back with Let's College It, where we visit 2,000 colleges and bring you the best advice and the best perspectives so you can form your own vision of the world. And I'm the co-founder, and now I'm basically a senior. It's senior step-up day today. That's why I have a crown. And we have a rock star with us today here. Sebastian is all around amazing with all his commitments. I mean, from Tesla to Stanford, you are amazing with so many things on your plate. So it's so nice to have you here. We're so honored to be able to really get your perspective on life and how you've been able to accomplish all of these amazing things. So thank you for being here today.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm honored to be able to help and give some perspective. I mean, I'm just doing it to, make my family proud and put myself in the best position I can be for life. So if I can help other people do this, and I'm honored to be here and do that. So, yeah.
100%, I totally agree. And we first wanted to start with your Tesla internship. I mean, that is all around impressive. And we know that in Tesla, a new car has been just released a couple months ago, the Cybertruck. So, and we know that you kind of worked on that a little bit, right? On the batteries. That's really impressive. I mean, the Cybertruck kind of blew up the internet lately. So can you share a little bit of your insights, I mean, and your experience at Tesla, specifically in your role with all the battery and all the engineering things that you had to do and manufacturing for this program?
For sure. So at Tesla, my role was a process engineering intern. And what that essentially means is looking at the process of manufacturing. And for me specifically, I was working on two specific parts of the battery cells. I'm not entirely sure how much I can say because I'm under NDA, so I'll be a little vague. But in these two parts, I was just working on a lot of running experiments, designing experiments, and collecting samples of product to see how different machine parameters, for example, how maybe a roller on one of the pieces of equipment or the temperature on the roller or like the pressure on the roller, different settings of the machine, how those impact the product. And then how do we manipulate those things to have the highest yield to decrease defects, increase production time, and increase the production speed. So there's a lot of running experiments and analyzing data. I would say the big challenges I was kind of dealing with though, it was just like a new experience. I hadn't done an internship before. It was my first one, and so very, very different work. A lot of new things I had never dealt with before, but just given the new opportunity, it was either you sink or you swim. And so I tried to swim, survived. So at least I'm here and say that. So.
And I mean, what a way to get yourself into the field, like starting off so strong with Tesla. And I mean, as you said, Tesla is also one of the most really innovative companies out there. And to start working for them, I'm sure, as you said, there was many challenges along with it being, something new for you. Did you have any other challenges that you really overcame throughout your time there?
Yeah, I think along with it being very new, I think Tesla is very, like you said, it's very innovative. But I would say they're also very, very focused on their mission. And with that in mind, I think they prioritize getting the product out or getting the work done. So it was not it was not a warm welcome holding your hand kind of experience. I think given that it was my first internship, I wish I had a bit more guidance right off the start, and I didn't. So it really was just having to figure out what my projects were, what was I supposed to be doing every day, who did I go to for help with whatever I needed help with. But the big thing was just asking questions to my manager, and I kind of felt a little weird at first, asking so many questions, but I just had to keep asking for help because like I'm there to learn and I'm also there to help the team. And the only way I'm going to be able to help is if I ask for help myself to know what I'm doing, what I need to do.
Yeah.
So I would say definitely like just asking for help when you need it is the biggest way of overcoming just the new challenges, the unknowns. And also just like adjusting to life as well. Like it was my first full-time job, first summer, not at home. Um, I didn't know anybody out in Austin, Texas when I got there. So adjusting to that lifestyle, just needing to come home, meeting people, but just like putting yourself out there. I made some really great friends at Tesla as well. So I still keep in touch with them now and probably never gonna work with them anytime soon, but it's really nice to have them. So
Yeah. And so you were basically kind of thrown in there to try to do it on your own. But something that I love that you said was that you kind of have to start asking for help and start asking questions. And that is so true because especially like high achieving people, it's really hard to ask questions and ask for help. You feel like you kind of have to do everything on your own. So I think that's really tremendous advice that so many people need to hear. They don't want to hear it, but they really have to hear and kind of have to go through with it. 100%. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about, I mean, your roots at Stanford. I mean, now I know that you're in Florence, so beautiful, like beautiful place. But going back to California and Stanford, I know that you did both your bachelor's and your master's, or you're completing your one of them right now, right? And how has this, I mean, doing both of them shaped your career aspirations and your career goals that you have for the future?
for sure. I would say like I guess like to clarify, like the master's, I actually recently got into the program, so I'll be taking my first grad classes this upcoming fall as I start my senior year. So I'll be kind of finishing up senior year next year, obviously, and then one more year I'll have my master's, which is a really cool program at Stanford. I think some other colleges also do it, have different. I think at Stanford it's called a co-term. Other schools it's a 4+1. Different names, so I think it's all the same concept. But for me, it was like kind of the best bang for your buck deal you could get. I knew that, like, obviously, with 4 years, you have a lot of time to learn so many great skills. But at Stanford, there's so many incredible resources that, like, you only have access to when you're at Stanford, and maybe a little bit after once you know people. But if I can maybe stick another year around and take some extra classes, I think that's honestly the best thing you could do. And at Stanford, it's really easy to also get easy in the sense that it's not impossible, but it's easy to get your master's paid for. My plan is, it's not set in stone and knock on wood, it doesn't change, but in the fifth year, I would only be taking 10 units or 10 credits a quarter, which would then let me be a TA for a class. And then doing that lets you get your master's paid for. And then if you RA, you can get a good chunk of your housing paid for. So um, I would say like just shaping my career aspirations, like if I get the most training as I can to become an engineer and become like a successful engineer, I'd rather do that. And Stanford is a great place to do it. So it was kind of an easy choice.
Right. So the resources, right? That's a really important part. And I'm sure, as you said, at Stanford, it's probably one of the most helpful places to get resources, especially for your major, you know? And especially in California, I mean, you're kind of right around where like the Silicon Valley, where all the tech companies are, engineering, all of that. So you're right around where you want to be. That's amazing. And as you mentioned, being an RA, right? You're an RA as well. So being in that position, you kind of have to create really a safe environment, community for the people around you and for the people living next to you. So, how do you really accomplish that? I mean, that's really a hard task.
I think like the big thing is always having a welcoming and friendly face. And obviously, like, if you need to feel your feelings, like, that's totally okay. And I'm not saying don't feel your feelings, but when you're in that position where like you're, I guess, part of the face of the dorm, me and my co-staff, like we needed to create that environment, like you're saying, that safe and inclusive community. And so for us, that just includes always sitting down for meals with like all of our residents. We all have a shared kitchen where a chef would cook for us, and We would sit down for meals. Also, just hosting different dorm events. It's always the most important thing is like having a reason to bring everybody together. So sometimes we do little spa nights, sometimes we do movie nights. Every once in a while, we get some extra money and have from Stanford and go take the dorm out to SF, for example. I actually did a small little trip and took a group of 10 residents over to this haunted house, which was a lot of fun. A great way to bring people together. It's pretty scary, and I don't really do well with scary stuff, so I personally don't know if I enjoyed it the most, but it was a great time to spend just time with my residents. But yeah, I
Wow.
think just being there for them.
Wow, that's amazing. And I mean, creating such a community and inclusive place in college, I think, is definitely one of the most important aspects because you're in a place by yourself, really, don't really have any family, or, I mean, at first, you don't really even have friends, really, that you know, unless they're coming with you from your school. But it's really hard to build a community from there. So it's so important to have a friendly face and a friendly person encouraging you. I love that. I love that you're creating that environment so early on because it's so important. And I also wanted to talk to you about the Apple Pathways Alliance program. So again, you're so impressive. You have so many things that you're doing. And so what has been really the most impactful part of being a part of this program, and like what has it done for you so far?
Well, I just want to say thanks for everything you said. I really appreciate it. And shout out to my RAs from freshman year who inspired me to become an RA when I got a little older. So, it's just
Aw.
passing of the torch. But to circle back to Apple, um, I think for me, the big thing is, being able to provide for my family. They don't know it yet, but I want to help my parents retire. So the big goal is to try and make as much money as possible right off the bat out of college. And like you mentioned, Silicon Valley, it's a great place to go if you need to make a little bit of extra money, especially with like Apple. And so for me, like this program originally applied because there was a scholarship opportunity and an ability to meet a lot of Apple employees and network. I unfortunately was not chosen for the scholarship, but I was actually chosen for the program, which is, I think, essentially the same, just without scholarship. But it's been really nice to get a lot of interview prep. You get to have a lot of more professional workshops, learning how to communicate with recruiters, or being able to talk to specific recruiters about job opportunities or job roles or what that includes. Um, there's like a few little giveaways they're doing, but I think the more important part is just like the ability to network, the ability to learn how to network. Um, People don't really talk about it enough, but talking to people with the sake of for the sake of networking is kind of a skill you need to practice. And I've been practicing it for a few years now, and even then, it's still a little difficult. Just to get something substantial out of it. So I would say like the program has helped me a lot with that. Um, and I mean, it's been a great opportunity. And my hope is that I'm able to use that as leverage for trying to work at Apple, hopefully, or another big company, who's to say, and be able to provide for my family as soon as I can. So.
I love that. The fact that you have really an authentic mission behind what you're doing, I think, is maybe making what you're doing a little bit easier in a sense, that you have a goal that you want to accomplish. So even when everything looks hard, you kind of look at the other side, seeing that you want to provide for your family. I love that. It's really an authentic goal and an authentic mission that I'm sure you'll be able to accomplish. And I love that the Apple Pathways program is able to also help you, right? It's giving you kind of the skills, as you said, like networking, which isn't really talked about enough and isn't taught enough in school, in high school, or in these types of lower schools. So it's like it's really impressive and really an opportunity that you're able to learn these things there. And again, how do you balance all of these things, especially the demands that come with this program and also everything else that you have to manage?
Well, I think definitely it makes it easier when you have a goal. Like you mentioned, my family is a big goal. Being able to provide for those I care about, like, just makes it a little bit easier. Um, I guess more practically, you just need to manage your time. Like you only have 24 hours a day, and you should use 8 to sleep. You should use 8. Do I use that all the time? Sometimes I'm running a little low, but I think just managing your time. I tend to just use a calendar and kind of make little blocks of time. For example, work on this assignment. The next hour, eat, and maybe another hour go work out. Another hour continue on this assignment, go to class. Just kind of scheduling everything out. And I also do believe that with a lot of demands and commitments, you need to also learn when you shouldn't take on other commitments. I would say like this past winter quarter was my busiest quarter at Stanford. And looking at my future schedule for next year as I start my master's, it's only going to get busier. So there's going to be opportunities that I have to turn away, or things that I'm doing that as my time passes, as I get a little older, get a little more advanced in my studies and closer to graduation, I might have to pass off to other people. And just learning to know when you can commit and when you can continue giving to a certain kind of organization or whatever it is, and when you should just kind of back off. But I think the time management for sure is a big one.
Yeah, 100%. Like organization, time management is all very important. As you said, saying no. That's why we're really honored to have you here, because we know how packed your schedule is, and we know that you're doing so many things. Again, you're so impressive, but the fact that you followed through with this cause really to also empower and inspire their students is really amazing to us. So thank you again. But yeah, as you said, it's so important to manage. And with that also, I wanted to talk about your leadership position in the SHPE, right, club that you the what's it called, the chapter that you have at Stanford. So can you tell us a little bit more about your role there, and really some initiatives that you think that made you such an important person in that chapter?
Well, I appreciate you saying that again. I mean, here to help and be able to provide perspective. I mean, that's, if I have anything, that's perspective. At least my perspective, right? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like out of everything I've done at Stanford, all the clubs and all the classes and all the people, I would say that the best resource for me has been, we call it SHIP, or I guess it's like the acronym. And at Stanford, we call it SOL, Society of Latinx Engineers. And so for our chapter, that was kind of the first club I joined freshman year. Joined as a little, we call them Frosh instead of freshmen, we call them Frosh. Joined as a Frosh intern. And I mean, I didn't do much as a Frosh intern. I was just, Frosh. I was just learning. I was just at the meetings, just listening. But then I became social officer, which included just planning all the social events. For example, carne asadas, barbecues. We have a special dinner once a year. Planning weekly and bi-weekly get-togethers, game nights, for example. And then from there, I transitioned up to vice president last year, which was a bigger role for sure. But shout out to my other co-vice president and then the president as well. They made the job a lot easier, being able to all work together, managing all aspects of SOL, which is, for example, there's like a professional aspect, a career prep, an academic aspect with study nights, obviously the social and also community outreach. Stanford, Palo Alto is a really beautiful area, but around Palo Alto, there's some less fortunate areas for sure. So being able to reach out and help, for example, have a bunch of elementary school kids come visit campus and learn what college is, and try and tell them, if they work hard, they can make it to college too. And, tell them stories about some of our officers and members that maybe came from similar backgrounds and got here. And then this year, I was chosen as to be president. I'm really grateful for the position. I'm a little sad that I'm in Florence for my first quarter as president, but I also feel like if you get the opportunity to study abroad, you shouldn't give it up. So as president, the big thing that me and my VPs have been working through is ensuring that officers are very active in their roles. In the past few years, one thing I've kind of noticed as I've also grown up and gotten up in the ranks is some officers aren't as active. They get busy with other stuff. And depending on the role, it might not be the biggest deal, but for some roles, it could lead to a lot of backups and a lot of events kind of falling through or not getting planned well enough, not getting planned advanced enough, and it just isn't the most efficient. So we've been working on more internal stuff, dealing with that, but also we've been wanting to do more outreach and more community outreach, both within Stanford and also outside of Stanford. We've been working a lot with our media team, spreading our word around more. We started the TikTok, jumping on the train, as they say, and trying to have a little bit more fun with that. Organizing more community outreach events with local schools. We had the first one actually last quarter, which was really nice. The first one in a while. Got to bring a bunch of kids and we had a little panel, got to talk to them, both in English and in Spanish. And then also just like engaging more with the community. We've been actually opening up our meetings now instead of just officer meetings, which is what we always did before. We're doing general meetings to kind of talk more about like events that are coming up because we have we just send that out on an email list, but being able to talk about it all in person is also going to help increase the reach that we have. But yeah, and also there is a national organization that SHIP is a part of, and every year we do take a group of members. We choose them based on who is most active, because Stanford does give us a little bit of money to take some people, but we go and take him to the national convention where there's a lot of networking opportunities and so many people get job offers there. Some of our past co-chairs have gotten 6-figure job offers right off the spot off an interview. So a lot of opportunity there. So it's, any way we can help the students and these young professionals, we try to. So.
Wow, that's amazing. And how do you think really your involvement in this has influenced your leadership and also your approach to really all the engineering problems that you encounter?
I would say the big thing is like being able to communicate efficiently and effectively. Obviously, like if things are going great, it's really easy to tell somebody they're doing a great job. If things aren't going great, it's a really important skill to tell them this needs to change, this needs to be better, or communicating on ways to help them do that. I think that's another big part of it. So just my ability to communicate in more negative situations is like the big thing. And for my engineering problems, I feel like honestly I've been kind of using my problem solving skills from engineering in more of these soft areas or soft skill areas. So if you put for example, let's say I'm trying to calculate something for some part. You want to look at all the requirements and then kind of break it apart, see what do I need, what do I have, how do I get there, and then working through doing whatever equation, right? Kind of that same approach. Let's say we have this event we want to plan. What do we have? What do we need? Who needs to get what? Who needs to do what? And then obviously having everybody do it, communicating that, and having that event. It's just a lot of using both problem solving skills to lead, but also just do anything you need to do in that role. So.
Right, and leadership 100% gives you that skill of problem solving, because I'm sure with everything you also encounter a lot of problems that need to be solved right away and have to really on the spot you have to come up with something. So I'm sure again that helps so much with everything you encounter in engineering and in different areas that you're looking into. And around that, I also want to talk about your Nike internship that's upcoming. That's really, really exciting, but it's also really different. I mean, from what I see, it's really different from what you've done before. So what are you really most looking forward to in this upcoming internship that you have with Nike? And how do you think it's going to really complement all your other experiences?
For sure. I think the big thing is that, at least this is something I didn't really know before, but mechanical engineering is so broad. It can be anything from like manufacturing to product design to more aerodynamics and thermal stuff, and even like just more like autonomous vehicles, for example, and like dynamic systems and mechatronics. There's like so many ways you can take mechanical engineering. And so after Tesla, one thing I learned is that I'm not entirely sure manufacturing is the one thing meant for me. And I also wasn't sure that I wanted, even if I did like it, like a lot, which I did enjoy, but if I loved it, I would still want to make sure that it's the best one for me. So it's Nike. I'm on the footwear product creation team. I have no idea what I'm doing yet. I don't know if I'm designing a shoe. I don't know if I'm going to be working on manufacturing. I don't know if it's materials. I don't know if it's testing. But whatever it is, it's going to be a really different experience. And whatever skills I gain, whatever skills I improve, I'm going to be able to add to my skill set. And um, in that sense, it's going to complement my previous experiences. It's going to be just so different. And obviously, like, it's not my first internship now, so I'll feel a lot more comfortable in a professional setting. I also feel like Nike, based on my initial impressions, is a bit more lax and a bit more of a, I don't know. I don't want to say less Tesla, but yes, less Tesla. You know,
Right, a
and
little maybe more community in a
yeah,
sense.
in a sense, I think it'll be definitely be a great experience to like meet more people and have maybe just more of a community aspect, like you're saying. I won't
Right.
feel as kind of just left to my own will, but just with that, like I'm really excited to experience a new job and learn so much more. So
My goodness, I'm excited for you. It sounds so amazing and it sounds like a great opportunity to just put yourself in something that you haven't put yourself into before. I mean, I know as you said, mechanical engineering kind of consists of all these different broad like things and broad areas, but at the same time when you look at it from first glance, you don't think that they're related at all. But it's so amazing that you're kind of going to get to experience all sides of it, you know, through all your internships. It's amazing. And so how do you think all these roles and experiences so far in your upcoming experiences, from engineering to internships to RA to teaching assistants, all these different things, how do you think they contributed to your personal goals and your professional growth as well?
I think before college, or maybe before high school, I'll put it there. I definitely grew up with a lot of love for my family, but I think I was I wasn't as ambitious and I wasn't as willing to like put myself out there. Um, but I would say that like since high school and especially since college, it's just been like so many new things and obviously like all these cyber and all these new experiences. Like if you don't really have like any idea where you are, what you're doing, you're gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to learn it. And obviously you can always ask for help. You can always ask people for assistance and ask them questions. And I don't think there's no such thing as a dumb question. There's only such thing as a dumb mistake because you didn't ask the question. Um, and you know, I've made my fair share of dumb mistakes. I've also learned to just ask the question. Um, but just all these experiences, like if anything, like it's just shown me like you need to lean in. And that's a phrase I learned from one of my professors last quarter. But no matter how new something is or how different it is or how scary it is, because like trust me, like I literally cried when I moved to Texas for my internship with Tesla because I was like so nervous. Like I moved in and I just started crying because I didn't know what I was doing. But if there's anything you can learn, it's like lean into the new, lean into the unknown, and make sure that like you're giving it your 110% effort because then you're going to be able to grow the most you can. Um, I mean, that's if anything from all that I've done and everything that I've been able to do at Stanford and like thanks to all the resources, all the people I've met, it's just like lean into it. Like if you don't lean into it, you're not getting the most out of it. So
I love that lean into it. Yeah, I was about to ask you what advice would you give these students that kind of also want to accomplish as much as you and in especially in engineering and technology, but you answered my question right away, like lean in. I love that. And as you said, like if you don't lean in, you're not going to get the most out of it and you're not going to get what you came there to do really in the first place. So I love that. And I'm sure that as soon as you started leaning into your experience at Tesla, and started asking the questions and started doing all those things, your experience kind of shifted, right?
mm-hmm.
Right. And again, with all of these, I also wanted to ask you, how do you really manage to give your best in all of these areas and deliver your best and ensuring that you're giving your best to not only Tesla or your internships, but also at school?
I think for me, the big thing is like you need to be sure that like you are your best self and your most present self to be able to manage your time effectively and like, give your best, right? So I'll just give a quick little example. Not last quarter, but the quarter before. So my first time as an RA, was going through some personal stuff that was a little difficult to deal with, and I don't know, I wasn't like sleeping as much. I wasn't working out as much, so I had like a lot of stress on me, and it was really difficult to give, all these roles my best effort. Um, I was able to, keep pushing, keep trying, but I just like I wasn't as productive as I could be. I wasn't as efficient as I could be. And so this past quarter, I made it a really big deal to manage my time, split up my time into a schedule, and stick to it, and also like, being really, really strict on myself to also go to the gym and eat healthily and get sleep. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't have time. I need to do this project, or oh, like I don't have time. I have to take a meeting. But sometimes like the only thing you can do is like go work out or go eat or go sleep, because then you're going to be in a better mental state to then take on that new challenge or that new task and do it the best way possible. So I think like the only way you can really like, give your best is if you are at your best. And so take care of yourself. To really sum up everything I just said, just take care of yourself. That's the important part.
Right, 100%. Take care of yourself, and it's definitely going to help you in the long way, in the long part, when looking back at your experiences, and if you helped yourself and took care of yourself, it'll definitely reflect on your later endeavors. And speaking of kind of the future and later endeavors, what are your long-term career goals that you want to accomplish, and how do you really plan to leverage everything you've done so far and everything you're about to do to get to what you want to achieve?
I think long term, I think I want to be able to, contribute my skills and contribute my skill set. And I think obviously the short term goal is help my family retire, also, put myself in a good position for life. And like, I'm not gonna lie, Stanford is not the cheapest place to go. So I also have to pay that off. But once all those things are done, I think just be really happy with my work and enjoy it. Like, I don't want my work to feel like work. If I can go to work and obviously like do some engineering, but also enjoy it, I think that's a great way to just be doing, be living my life. And for me, like when I first got into engineering, I wanted to make people happy, no matter what I was creating, no matter what I was working on. If I can make somebody happy and make people happy with my job, I wanted to do it. So I think I'm not sure where my long-term goals are yet, but as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, for sure, I think that would be a good thing. But I mean, if I had to like pick a specific thing, I think it'd be kind of cool to work on some roller coasters, make a couple of theme park rides. That's what got me into. That was the first thing that got me interested in engineering. So I think it'd be kind of a full circle moment to go back to that. So.
Kind of a full circle moment if you're able to do that. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And I love how you kind of brought the part of being like making people happy and then brought it into engineering. That's really something I would have never thought about, just to think that engineering and making people happy could go together. But seeing it from your perspective, it's like it's so doable in a way. I don't even know how to express that, but I love that it's your intention. You have really good intentions other than, of course, retiring your parents, but you also want to make everybody else happy with your career choice. I love that. And I wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for a really important lesson that you've learned throughout your entire time through Stanford, or your jobs or internships or programs that you've done? So what has been the most important lesson that you've learned so far?
I think if there's any lesson that I can give or any takeaway or any advice, I think is lean in. like I said earlier, like it's gonna do you wonders. Like lean into whatever goal you have, lean into whatever experience it's given, like whatever opportunity you're given, lean into taking care of yourself. Like don't lean back. Like you know, like if you have that chance and you have the time and you can make it work, lean into it because you're just gonna regret it if you don't give it your full effort.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah.
And you said that what got you into engineering was roller coasters, right? Do you remember kind of the day that it happened that you were like, "Whoa, I'm intrigued by this"?
I don't remember what it was. I think I was just little, spending some time with my family. I think we went to Disneyland, and I was on a ride. I was like, "Wow, I want to make this someday," and it kind of just stuck. That was probably like second grade. Must have been maybe second grade, maybe third. I was just like, I like this, and here we are. So
That's amazing. I love that it stuck so long and you never like your love for it never kind of left, right?
yeah, I mean, I think part of me still wants to do that at some point. So the love never left. I just got a little more time to get there. So giving it
Make
my
sure
time.
make sure to make the roller coasters pretty fun. I love roller coasters and I definitely want to experience new ones.
I'll try. I'll try. I'll try. Who's to say? Maybe somebody watching this podcast will make the best one. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
but I mean, I'm sure that you will be able to do one too. And
We'll
speaking
see.
of, inspiration and just kind of what got you started, who and or what has been your biggest inspiration throughout your entire journey of, I mean, life and going to Stanford and who has pushed you really?
I think the biggest inspirations have been for sure my parents, um, and my grandparents. I owe them, and I owe them life, but I also owe them just like all the lessons I've learned just growing up and the love. And I mean, since then, obviously, all the teachers that have been able to teach me so much in school inspire me to keep going, keep pushing. Uh, Shout out to my college counselor. She convinced me to go to Stanford. I was just going to go in state to Arizona State. Um, but she convinced me to apply to Stanford. And I mean, here I got there. Um, and then I
Wow.
guess at Stanford, I think some of the older students, some of the ones I met when I was a frosh and they were juniors or seniors, like they know so much, and I truly just hope I can be to the frosh this year and like the new students next year what they were for me. So
Wow. And you said you were going to go to Arizona State and you ended up going to Stanford. Wow. What a shift in career path or in college path. That is crazy.
yeah, it's very different, but I mean I love Arizona from there, but I think Stanford was the right place for me. So
Definitely was. And really, like, why did you think of Arizona State at first? Why are you a little bit reluctant to Stanford?
I guess like I guess when the time was coming to start applying, I didn't lean in. Not at first. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like I don't really think I'd get in anyways. Like I might as well just like apply just and say no, I can get in there, get a good opportunity and just kind of run with it. But I was convinced to lean in. Maybe not the exact wording of lean in, but I tried and bada bing bada boom, here we are. So
Wow. No, but I were convinced to lean in. I love that. And it was kind of your impact of leaning in. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today. You are an amazing all around person and your perspective, your insight, like what you have to say is very authentic and very, from the heart. And I love that. And I love all your goals that I'm sure you're going to accomplish. And I can't wait to hear the full circle moment that's going to go into your life. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for this new adventure. And I hope that you really enjoy Florence as well.
thank you so much. I really appreciate all the kind words and I hope that everybody watching this, especially you, like you're creating this show and hosting, like hope that everything that you learn and everything that you hear from other people helps you get where you want to go. I know you're gonna cook in life too, as they say these days. You're gonna cook, but yeah, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you having me on the show. So.
But thank you so much. It was so nice to have you, and it was so nice to meet you.